Welcome to the Verdant Verdict. I'm your host, Jacob Verdant. Today we're doing an NBA Finals Game 1 recap. A lot happened in the NBA Finals last night. A lot of things, I guess you can say, went wrong for a couple teams. Boston definitely had some downsides to their game. But at the same time, they wound up coming out in the end. Warriors, I think, had the most downside last night. I don't think that was their best basketball yet. I think there's a lot to come for the Warriors. Game 1, 17-0 run in the fourth for Boston. Looked pretty convincing in the end. 9-12 from 3 in the fourth. Golden State put up a 38-point third quarter, and Boston answers with a 40-point fourth quarter. That was rough. Al Horford, he shined in his first NBA Finals game. Big three for the lead late in the fourth. Big board for a big second chance point, and then he had a clutch and one that wound up sealing the game with right under a minute left, I'd say. Yep. Marcus Smart, when he scores, they win. Simple as that. When Marcus Smart scores more than 20 points in the NBA playoffs, they're 5-0. He didn't get 20 last night. He got 18, but look, that's close enough. I'll give it to him. He shot 4 for 7 from 3. I think that's close enough in my book. Moral of the story, Marcus Smart gets active offensively. He's such a factor on defense. He drains out his guy on both sides, and now he's a huge impact on the game. Moving towards the Warriors, Stephen Curry, there's been a lot of talk about his NBA Finals performances and, whether or not he's worthy of a Finals MVP or worthy of a elite stature in the NBA. Right. I personally feel like he would be, and I think that effort was strong last night, and he proved it. He had a 34-point performance, 7 of 14 from 3. That was insane because the rest of the starters from the Warriors combined for 5 from 18 from 3. Steph shooting 50%, and the rest of the guys are shooting 27% combined.
You can't win
it's rough.
Games.
The Warriors live and die by the 3, as Steve Kerr has said numerous times. It's just one of those things in the NBA. That's why you got so many swings in these playoffs. You got a team that can cover a 10-point gap. You know what I'm saying? You got a team that can go ahead and hold on one second. You can take it from here. You pretty much got a team that can make up lost distance and whatnot. And they can definitely impact the game without a shadow of a doubt. Yes, sir. Hold on one second, guys. We're gonna take a break real quick and then we'll get back online. There we go. welcome back to the show. We're joined here by G Sports, close friend Jeremiah Gray. We're going to be recapping the NBA Finals here. Going to be talking about a little bit about Zion Williamson, the Pelicans situation, NOLA QB troubles, and 100 days away from NFL Sunday. My favorite days of the week, especially during that time of the year. More towards the NBA Finals, though. Game 1, Celtics went on a strong 17-0 run in the fourth. Impressive showing from a young group of guys. I didn't think they had that much energy left in them. 2 back-to-back series going deep. They shot 9 for 12 from 3 in the fourth. Golden State put up a 38-point third quarter. Boston answers back with a 40. That was just a huge showing for me. How do you feel about the Boston Celtics and their effort last night?
Yesterday on my show, FanView Live, I kind of predicted that the Celtics was going to win Game 1. A lot of both of my co-hosts was, laughing and thinking like, man, they not about to go in and go to state and beat these people, Game 1 of the finals. But I just thought that off of 3 days of rest with the Celtics versus the Warriors coming off of 6 days of rest, that was going to be the difference. When you off 6 days in a game of basketball, regardless if you practicing in the gym, getting shots up, it's just different when you're not in a game situation with that rhythm, that timing, shooting with somebody in your face, it's just different. So I thought the Celtics were going to come in more of a rhythm. And, they showed that. And then also, my X factors going into this Game 1 and for the whole series was Robert Williams and Al Horford. Al Horford, 26 points. Robert Williams, 8 points, I think 6 rebounds, but he had 4 blocks. And I can't count how many times he altered shots and got deflections and stuff like that. And I thought that was the difference in the game because I think he might have had like 3 or 4 offensive rebounds as well, and he led the league in offensive rebounds this season. So, with that being said, man, I wasn't surprised that they won Game 1. I still picked the Warriors in 7. I think it's going to be a fantastic series, and I'm just looking forward to see, this battle between 2 evenly matched teams.
I agree. What I was really looking at, I think, as well, the Celtics went out there and they're performing like pretty much Game 1 doesn't matter in a sense because the last 2 series, they lost their Game 1 and they still wound up becoming the better team in a sense. Another thing with the Golden State and that rest, they needed the rest a little bit, you could say, because, you got guys like Iguodala and Porter and Peyton. They're going ahead and getting rest, but at the same time, like you said, now they got rust. These are older guys. When they get out of that momentum swing, that rest is almost kind of like an Achilles heel for them. Golden State is kind of a lackadaisical team too, in a sense. I feel like they get a little too overconfident at times. That's why they show up more towards, the second half of games. But here's an interesting stat. The Golden State Warriors have only lost one other Game 1 in NBA Finals history, and it was to Toronto, and we know how that series turned out. So right. Golden State doesn't fare well when they get bit quick in a NBA Finals series specifically, especially at home. I think home court advantage is gone now. Now they're going to Boston. They'll probably have to face a closeout game, whether they win in 6 or force a 7, regardless of the situation. I think there's a tough road ahead for the Warriors. They're a smaller team. The physical defense is definitely going to run them. This man over here, he big Warriors fan pretty much. I can't tell you got a Celtics jersey on. Yeah, Mr. Larry Bird right here.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of him, man.
I think pretty much Larry Bird is this dude's favorite player of all time. Let me go ahead and move this camera for him a little bit. Get Larry in the shot.
Big Larry, man.
What you think? Hold on, let's move this one for you, actually. We'll keep this one about right here. I'd like to move this one for you.
Yeah.
All right, Larry. Well, yeah, but more about that NBA Finals, though. I think the Celtics, they do good when they got their guys active early. Especially, when guys like Jason Tatum can't show up in terms of scoring, he can show up another asset. He got more assists than he did points. That was big. 3 of 17 shooting performance was a little rough, but you got guys like you said, Al Horford dropping the 26 bomb. That was huge. 6 for 8 3-point percentage for Al Horford. Big 3 for the lead.
Yep.
Big effort on the board, getting second chance points. Big and 1 to pretty much seal the game. About Marcus Smart, when he scores, they win. That's pretty much a simple way of summing this series up. Marcus Smart, when he scores more than 20 in the NBA playoffs, Celtics are 5-0. He had 18 last night. Wasn't really a 20-point performance like, the statistic, but 4-7 from 3. I think if he can repeat that in another game, I think it's pretty much obvious he'll be able to stay around that 20-point margin and that productivity from both sides of him. The Defensive Player of the Year also giving him a 20 a game. He outscored Clay. So their number 2 now is getting more efficient than almost the most efficient number 2 in history. How do you feel about, Klay Thompson? Is it the injury that's kind of shelling him out, or what do you think's going on? He just got an answer last night.
Nah, Klay made some tough shots last night. He made some timely shots last night, especially in the first half. I think they got a little caught up with trying to get stuff going a little bit too much in that second half. It was running a lot of double screens and stuff was coming off the screens and stuff like that. And they did a good job. Jaylen Brown did a great job of shadowing Klay Thompson in that second half. I mean, he got loose a couple of times and was able to make some shots, but for the most part, Jaylen Brown did a good job of bumping him, holding him a little bit. The referees didn't have a quick whistle last night. And I remember Magic Johnson saying pregame, he says, if they have a quick whistle, it's going to favor Golden State.
Of course.
If they don't have a quick whistle, it's going to favor Boston. And you saw that especially in the second half because Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Tatum, they was bumping them, coming off them screens, holding them, dead legging them. They was doing a lot of different things to aggravate them. And on the offensive end, Al Horford, Robert Williams, they were just bullying them down low. You saw the play when Al Horford got the ball on Draymond Green and he posted him up and Draymond Green tried to flop, but they called the foul on Draymond Green. But that's the kind of play, that's the kind of winning plays that Boston's going to need if they want to win this series. It
seems like Draymond Green is just becoming, almost a shell of his former self, especially in these primetime moments. He goes 0 for 4 last night. What does he score? 4 points total. There's even a lot of times where, he doesn't do what he used to do as well, like whether it be the screens. He's getting called for a lot of legal screens, a lot of moving screens, situations like that. Pretty much looking towards the NBA Finals, though, Game 2. Who do you see? You see Golden State answering back and tying this up?
I see Golden State definitely bouncing back in Game 2, making this thing 1-1. I think Steve Kerr is going to make adjustments. He always figures out a way to counter what you've done. The prior game that they lost, even if the game was close and they won, he always make adjustments. What has to be demoralizing a little bit if you're the Warriors is Tatum didn't even play a good game.
Right.
Although he did lead the game with 13 assists, which that was very impressive because he didn't try to force the issue. He saw Jaylen Brown getting off. He saw Al Horford getting off. He saw Marcus Smart making some big shots, Derek White. And he said, you know what? I'm not hitting. Let me get these guys involved. I'm not going to try to force the issue. But if you go to state, you like, man, Tatum ain't going to keep playing like that.
Of course not.
Right? So, but I still think in all, man, the Warriors going to figure a way to come back and bounce back in Game 2. And like I said it all along. I think it's going 7 games.
I think this highlights the head coach of Boston, Emi's. It highlights his ability to find character or just find a skill in someone that they yet haven't established or whatnot. Jason Tatum wasn't really that good of a playmaker. He showed up in Boston. He wanted to get Jason Tatum more active on the ball handling side of things, on the distributing side of things, and he goes out there and puts on this performance. So when he has a bad game, now he's still able to impact it and lead his guys to a Game 1 victory, like you said. Same thing with Steph, Steph's guys around him, the starters combined for 5 for 18, 27% from 3. It's rough. A lot of it was, like you said, they're kind of trying to force the hand. They got down, they got bit, and they were looking to go to, the hand that was hot. Steph Curry shot 50% from 3, but in the end, he wasn't able to do it when guys like Klay scored 15, Wiggins got 20, Draymond got 4. He needs, when guys like Horford are scoring 26, and then Marcus is scoring 18, and you got threes draining left, right, and center, you're going to have to, play the numbers game with them. They had a 38 third quarter. Yeah, they were good. But then Boston comes out and says, yeah, you're good, but we're a little bit better. We're a little bit younger, a little bit faster. Do you think maybe is the scheme getting figured out in Golden State, or are they just playing a really rough defense? Nah,
man. Golden State is still a premier offensive team in the league, man. Boston is the number 1 defensive team in the NBA. You got the defensive player of the year on their team. And Tatum and Jaylen Brown are two-way players,
right?
Which you don't see too many star players. Well, you don't see too many teams having multiple star players on their team that's two-way players. You might have one, but 2, Jaylen Brown and Tatum, they want to D up. They want to sit down and guard you and bump you and aggravate you and agitate you. And then Marcus Smart, he speaks for himself. And I think Robert Williams is arguably the best rim protector in the game. His explosiveness, the way he can close out, switch on pick and roll. He just do a lot of different things that helps you defensively. And I think, even with all of that being said, I still feel like Golden State going to make an adjustment, man, and figure some things out to win game 2.
Yeah, they got a lot of good experience. They've been in, 6 NBA finals in the past 8 years. Steve Kerr's got that grit about him. He's a tough coach, been around a lot of good, impactful guys, good influence. And Steph embodies pretty much everything that you'd want in a star player. Steph is the most, I guess you could say, charitable, charismatic, positive, uplifting guy. He really does no wrong, so to speak. I mean, the worst thing he probably did was throw a mouthpiece at the owner's son in Cleveland. That's probably about it.
Yeah.
But speaking more about Steph, there's been a lot of topic of discussion about whether or not the lack of a Finals MVP is affecting his legacy.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I don't think so because, like I said, Steph is kind of selfless. He lets guys come in and take a little bit of the points, take a little bit of the load off. He's going to fulfill his role, but in the end, he wants to win, and it looks like he's doing it well.
Yeah, I mean that first quarter. 6 threes, and I think Boston had some mental lapses because I think out of the 6, maybe 2 or 3 of them, he was just wide open. But if you paid attention to the game, they had Marcus Smart mic'd up, and Marcus Smart was talking about how, man, we got to get in him earlier when he come across the half court when they try to set that down screen and try to make him run off the 3-point line. And I thought they just kind of got lost a little bit in that first quarter, and Steph made him pay. But in the second quarter, he didn't score a point, and he got him in foul trouble. And I thought that played a big factor into why they was able to go up 2 at the half. But I'm gonna tell you a key. I think in game 2, Kuminga didn't play a minute in game 1, which I thought was very surprising.
Right.
Looney, I know Kerr likes Looney. Tough, rebounds the ball. I think Kuminga brings more to the game. I think Kuminga could match Robert Williams' energy and his athleticism on both sides of the floor. So I look to see them insert Kuminga more. And he's offensively better than Looney. So I think that could be a key factor. I think Gary Payton Jr., I thought he would get at least 8 to 10 minutes last game. He didn't even get any time, and he's one of their better defenders.
Yeah.
So
the mitten.
Yep. So I think those two could probably contribute mightily in game 2.
Yeah, I agree. You think maybe they're kind of preparing them a little bit for a deeper series? They think this is going to be a longer battle. They might not be healthy right now.
Yeah, I think, I know Gary Payton's coming off the elbow. Iguodala played last night. He hasn't played the whole playoffs.
He did good. Iguodala
he had a big 3.
I've seen flashes of that 2015 Iggy.
Yeah, he had a big 3. I mean, he was 3 for 4, 7 points. I mean, I think he made a couple nice defensive plays as well. But I'll tell you another key. I said this yesterday on my show. Jordan Poole played terrible last night.
Oh, yeah.
And on the defensive end, he is a liability. He gets lost. I mean, he's not moving his feet laterally. I mean, you can get to the goal at will on him. I think you're going to see the Celtics target him more when he gets in the game. And I think Steve Kerr has to figure a way to hide him.
Yeah, because
defensively, he's a liability.
He's turning into barbecue chicken, like Shaq would say. It's looking like Boston's licking their lips over there.
Yep.
I think my main takeaway for this whole game 1 is the Celtics went out there and they just fired on all cylinders. We were saying, at least I was saying all week, I just didn't know if Boston at their best could beat Golden State. I didn't think they were good enough. They proved me wrong last night. Better
you didn't think
3.
they were good enough?
I didn't think at their best that they were going to be able to outperform the Warriors at their best. If both were firing all cylinders, I just was thinking at the end the greater of 2 evils would have been the Warriors. I think great offense beats great defense every day. But last night, Celtics better 3, better field goal, better free throw percentages, less turnovers, less fouls, and more assists. Seems like they covered all bases. The rebound game, it was a slight advantage-ish, I guess you could say, but you can kind of argue, offensive rebounds are a little better than defensive rebounds. Defensive rebounds can just fly all over the place, but offensive, you go there and you go get that. Al Horford was active on the glass.
Right.
That's one thing about Al Horford. What do you think about the Celtics, Mr. Larry Bird?
They're playing, really good defense, and they're throwing their shooters off. They're transitioning those good defensive plays and the points on the other end.
Yep.
They shot lights out in the 4th, and they really got set apart, in those last couple minutes, and I think that was pretty good. But, like you said, the Warriors are definitely they're gonna change things up going into game 2, so I think it'll be interesting. But
And game one, of a series is always a feeling out process. Steph said in his press conference after the game, he was pretty much just saying, he's got a lot of experience in things going wrong early in a series. He knows how to, shake back, whatnot. But Boston's learning a lot of experience as well. Like I said, they had 2 Game 7s back to back. You think for a second they might be exhausted, but at the same time, maybe that momentum is riding them so high. It's a Cinderella story. Right. It's like a March Madness almost. I think Boston could really surprise a lot of people. It would be great. I would really love to see that Kevin Garnett stat come to fruition in 2008. That'd be nuts.
Something I didn't really like after the game was how the Celtics were celebrating. Marcus Smart, I think, was the only one that kind of was like straight face, even killed, wasn't excited, wasn't even really celebrating. But the rest of them guys, man, they was high-fiving. Someone was jumping up and down. And I watched Steph on the other side of the court. He got the towel over his head, and he's looking like, okay, y'all think this series over, huh? All right. He's shaking his head, and he like, bet. And he turns around and goes to the locker room. Man, you don't want to ignite Steph Curry, man.
No, you don't.
You don't want to ignite the Warriors, man. These guys have been to 6 finals in the last 8 years. I thought the Warriors should have just clapped hands, boom, boom, boom. It ain't over. Let's roll. Let's get to the locker room, move on to game 2. You don't want to show them that you're excited like that.
Right.
If you want to get excited like that, wait till you get in the locker room, wait till you get on the plane, in the hotel room, whatever you want to do.
Exactly.
But don't show them that you're excited like that. I thought that was one thing I saw after the game that I didn't like.
Yeah, like Kobe said, job's not finished.
It's not finished.
That's going to come with the inexperience and just the youngness about them. That's their first NBA final, so they're probably just going overzealous. That's a big thing, though. Now that high emotion, that also leads you to think when they get faced with adversity in this NBA finals. Now what's that mindset going to look like?
Yep.
If they get really excited, will they get really depressed? Will they get really in a drought, really in a slump?
Well, that's what happens when you've never been there before.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So they first finals appearance. And so this is, I guess, this is new territory for them. You know what I mean? So to some degree, you can't fault them.
Right.
But, if you're Udoka, you need to have a conversation with them when you get in the locker room and say, look, man, we can't show them that we excited and we think the job is done.
Right.
We still got to win 3 more games.
The Boston Celtics story is just so nuts to me. The fact that Brad Stevens steps down, hires him, and they just completely go off in the first year. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown were about to separate. Now all of a sudden they come together. They're close.
At the All-Star break.
Right. Close. They lead to the finals, and they're arguably, I feel like, I'm about to say something pretty bold, but I think this 2008 Boston Celtics team, that 2008-2010 span, I think this team's really reminding me of it. They're that good that they can. I really would be comfortable with the fact that they could win this year, and then next year I wouldn't be surprised to see them in the conference finals again, pushing to the finals. Year after that, same thing. I think Boston might have found the pieces. Yeah,
when you think about Kendrick Perkins, Robert Williams, I probably would take Robert Williams, and then you talk about KG. I mean, I probably wouldn't take anybody on this Boston team over KG, but that's
understandable.
You talk about Paul Pierce,
right.
Jason Tatum.
I'd
probably take Tatum.
Yeah.
I'm probably taking Tatum. Mm-hmm. Then you talk about Ray Allen and Jaylen Brown. The Boston Ray Allen, I'm taking Jaylen Brown.
Miami Ray Allen,
yeah. I mean, or Seattle Ray Allen, I'm taking Ray Allen. Yeah. But Boston Ray Allen, I'm taking Jaylen Brown. Rondo, Marcus Smart, probably taking Marcus Smart.
Rondo couldn't shoot. At least Marcus can create an offense a little bit better.
Yeah. So, I'm with you on that one. I think this Boston team could slightly be better than that finals team that won it all with Kendrick Perkins and Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen and Paul Pierce.
And it's ironic, too, because the trade that sent these picks from Brooklyn to Boston was the pieces of Kevin Garnett and whatnot, sending them to there when they did that horrible, end of their career run and kind of looked like fragments of them out there on the court. Those last minute runs at the end of your career are rough.
Yeah.
Shaq was rough. Michael Jordan was people just forget about the Wizards. You got to forget about it. But he's got such a good legacy that you can. I'm worried about Tom Brady. I wonder how this, because look, Tom Brady is great, but at the same time, what if he just has a horrible year?
I don't see it because Tom Brady's game is not predicated off of athleticism. He still can throw the ball 70 yards, spiral. He still can outthink his opponents. He's still going to watch film till 4 a.m. He's still going to be in the facility before everybody. The way his game is, he doesn't need to be young to still have an elite player at an elite level. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Especially when you're surrounding him around some good talent.
My worry is Mike Evans is coming off a big injury. Chris Godwin is coming off a big injury. His two main backup guys last year, Antonio Brown gone. Rob Gronkowski might be gone. Now he's got Russell Gage, LSU boy. I mean, shout out to him. He's gonna ball out. You still got O.J. Howard. You still got. I mean, you got guys. Your backfield's the same. Fournette, Bernard.
I think O.J. Howard was underachieved since he's been in the NFL. And Leonard Fournette, I don't think they haven't signed him yet.
I thought he agreed to the extension. No, not yet. It's not official.
I don't think he did yet. I don't think he did. I could be wrong.
That would be rough. Let me double check.
Yeah.
If Leonard Fournette, then
I think he's still out there.
That'd be hard.
That's scary.
What if he gets a little homecoming and comes join Tyrann Mathieu over here?
I don't think we need him.
What about for them 4-6 games? Kamara's out. A little backup. Is Mark Ingram still on the squad?
Yeah.
All right. Well, then they'll be all right.
Yeah. I mean, we got a couple undrafted free agents I think has a chance to make the team. Trey Regis, the kid that's from right there from New Orleans, Louisiana, with the Shaw High School, played at UL. He was with the Raiders last year. I want to say he played in about 3 or 4 games, but he's in camp with us. I think he has a chance to make the team. I forget the running back that we signed that was undrafted from Baylor, like a little bowling ball running back. I think he could be somebody that could possibly make the team. But I know he was trying to go after Sonny Michel at one point.
That would be clutch veteran.
Yeah. But I forgot who he ended up signing with. But I don't think we need to add Leonard Fournette to this mix in New Orleans because it's just gonna be too many egos.
And it would be a lot of money. I'm seeing here they signed him to a 3-year, $21 million. So that's roughly $7 a year. I don't know if they can afford that.
So the Bucks did sign him back?
Yeah, they re-signed him on March 20th.
Okay, gotcha.
That's. I mean, look, that it's. I don't know if he's got an out. He's got an out after 2023.
Gotcha.
So he's got at least this season and next. He's 27. 5 years experience. I'll put him at 29 in their contract year.
Yep.
Salary cap will be raised. What do you think about Jarvis Landry? That wide receiver salary cap all-time high right now. Odell and Jarvis could both potentially get good money. Odell going to have a little harder time because of that ACL. But what do you think about Jarvis? He's going to come back to New Orleans? What do you think's going on with all that? I heard some murmurs, and I was getting excited.
No, he signed with New Orleans.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Sorry. What about Odell? You think Odell's going to be able to get back with him?
No, I don't want that either. Man. Everybody keeps saying they want Odell and Jarvis and Tyrann to join together in New Orleans. Man, we don't need all those egos.
You right.
You don't need all those egos.
Hey, that's a good look. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, good insight.
And then Sean Payton's not there to manage it. Dennis Allen. I mean, all I can go off of is his track record when he was the head coach of the Raiders, which was terrible. It was terrible. So I don't know how good he would be managing all those personalities.
Right.
Just on the offensive side of the ball, right? Michael Thomas.
Yep.
Diva.
Yeah.
Kamara. Diva. Jarvis Landry. Diva. Like, that's just on the offensive side of the ball.
Super mega diva.
Yeah. So and then on the defensive side of the ball,
Laddie.
CeeDee.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's a demon. That ain't even
Tyrann Mathieu. Cam Jordan. Demario Davis, that's a lot of personalities.
It is
that with players that's playing at the elite level still in their career to have to manage and to add Odell to that or Leonard Fournette.
You right,
man? That'd have been no. It's too much.
It sounds good on paper, but that'd be a Brooklyn Nets situation.
Yeah.
Too many personalities, you just don't get along.
And Pete Carmichael, he just don't strike me as a person that can handle those egos.
Right.
I just don't see it. He seemed like a pushover. I could be wrong. Just tell me what it seems like. I'm stereotyping him right now.
Yeah. I think the Saints got a couple question marks around them. The quarterback situation is interesting. There's James is coming off a big injury. I'm wondering if James will be able to get back to 100%. And if not, you got quarterbacks like Baker Mayfield and Jimmy Garoppolo potentially going to get traded for the low. Baker Mayfield is interesting to me because I can kind of look back to a young San Diego Chargers quarterback in Drew Brees. And Drew Brees was kind of looking shaky at first, wasn't having much success. But he really got unlocked in the scheme in New Orleans. I'm wondering if maybe Baker Mayfield could be more of the same story. That's a huge pair of shoes to fill for Baker. I'm not saying he'd be as great as Drew, but I'm just potentially interested to see if it was Cleveland or Baker.
I don't question Baker's talent. We know he's a great talent. I question his leadership. I think he's very, very emotional. And in the game of football, man, at the quarterback position, you don't need your quarterback being emotional.
Right.
You know, he doesn't need to be the most emotional person on the team. You know what I mean? So I just don't know if Baker would be a good fit, especially in New Orleans. You know what I mean? And it to me, it just wouldn't make any sense to bring him, especially with the money he's going to want to get paid. And with Jameis, you know, they say he's on track to start week 1. You know, I know, like, if the season started today, he would be able to start. But we 2 months away, 3 months away from
100 days.
Yeah, from the first game of the season. So I think Jameis, to see him in OTAs throwing balls and moving around a little bit, you know, that's encouraging. So I think we should be all right. I think the biggest question mark is Jameis Winston's decision making.
Okay.
That's what I question, especially with Sean Payton not being in the fold and being able to hold him accountable to some of the throws that he likes to make. You know, he believes in his arm. He think he can make every throw down the field. Can Carmichael still hold him to that same standard that Sean Payton did? You know, before he got hurt, 14 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. You know, he made some good decisions for the most part. I'm torn with, can he carry that into this season with Sean Payton not being there? I just don't know, man.
Yeah,
but
it'll be a guessing game.
Yeah, I just don't know. But if he can make good decisions, our offense going to be probably top 3 in the league.
Yeah, and you know, I don't think they got a lot of competition in that division. You know, I think the Saints.
Yeah, it's out of the Saints and the Bucks.
And the Bucks without Bruce Arians too. That's a big question mark. And then they got a couple guys where, like, you're wondering, both of these teams can go either way. Like, they can either be really good or really bad. Because the Bucks could shallow out and hit rock bottom, or they could, you know, be a brute force in the NFC again. Same thing with the Saints. I wouldn't write off Jameis yet, but if Jameis just can't get healthy, I would just worry. I would worry, do you want to put money into this? He's really kind of average. He's showing you some potential to go down. Do you sign him to that deal? Because the Saints are so trigger happy with signing people. Like Taysom, they put.
They gave him that 2 year. They gave him 2 years, $28 million. So, you know, that's 14 a year. That was to, you know, kind of reward him a little bit for what he did last year before he got hurt, but not go overboard and give him a big contract. You know, if he comes in week 1 healthy and he has a really good season, you know, I could see them, you know, extending him after the year. Right. But, you know, that's a big question mark.
And big contracts in New Orleans is being the topic of discussion right now. Zion Williamson is looking to apparently put some pen to paper as well and have a big payday, but another question mark around him with an injury. What would you do if you're the Pelicans right now? You got a rough situation. They've had 3 big first-round draft picks. 2 of them were first picks overall. They get Chris Paul. Chris Paul's unhappy. Chris Paul leaves. Anthony Davis, same situation, gets unhappy and leaves. What do you do with Zion? Do you try to make him happy? Do you let him leave? Like, what would be the smart thing in this situation?
I'm definitely trying to bring him back, but we're going to have a lot of incentives in your contract. And I know in the NBA, you know, the money is pretty much guaranteed. But with Zion, man, you gotta put some type of incentives and some kind of clause in that contract saying, if you don't meet this weight requirement when you come into training camp, you have to stay within this weight limit throughout the season. You got to play so many amount of games. They got to have those kind of incentives in his contract for him to get all his money. If they don't, you know, Zion will keep having these bad eating habits, and he's going to continue to get injured. So they got to hold him accountable, man, and hold him to a certain standard. And I would give him the max. Man, if he's willing to sign a deal with those incentives in the contract. Right. So we'll see.
I agree. We were kind of discussing this last night after the finals game. I think the Pelicans got 3 main options. They can, like you said, give him the max, or they can, you know, give him a smaller contract, risk upsetting him, or if they trade him, people know their hand is forced. They're not going to get the value that they deserve. And in those situations when leverage is being pulled on someone, everyone knows Zion wants out of New Orleans. They're not going to give him top dollar. You know what I mean? It'll be more like a Philadelphia and Brooklyn trade where it was kind of lopsided, so to speak, in the beginning. I'm worried the Pelicans, you know, they got a really good chance to make some noise for the next couple years in the playoffs. They already went deep and arguably knocked off the best team in the Western Conference statistically. I think the Pelicans could shoot themselves in the foot if they don't handle this the right way. I agree. Supermax needs to go to Zion. They need to pay him. They need
Not
to
a
reward him.
Supermax.
Or the max deal he could do.
He can get a max. I would
would
give him a Supermax.
I would make sure that I would pay him and get him comfortable, like you said, make it incentive based, and you could even backload it a little bit. A couple years from now, give him the heavier days. I would trust him just because you're in a pretty bad situation as the Pelicans.
It just can't be all guaranteed money.
Right. You got to be safe with it.
Yeah, you got to be safe. And him and his stepdad, Lee Anderson, man, they got to understand that. You know what I mean? And so if you play, so it's 82 games in the season. If you play 65 or more and you meeting your weight requirement throughout the season and training camp, and you do what you're supposed to do for as, I don't know, he has to, be top 2 or top 3 on the team in scoring, whatever, however they want to put it in the contract, then you'll get all your money. Yeah. But if you don't meet those requirements of the weight limit and playing a certain amount of games, you ain't gonna get all your money.
And I see no problem with that.
And that's fair.
Exactly.
That's fair.
Because he'd be in that situation saying, I deserve this because of this, and this. I'm an elite player, and they'd just be like, okay, show me. You'll get it if you prove that. That's 100%
availability.
Both backs are covered. That's how business is done. Right, proper business. But at the same time, is Zion going to be understanding of that? Is he going to be? That's the main question. I think he could be.
I know he said that he wants to stay in New Orleans and he's excited about the future.
It's a good sign.
But money is the root of all evil.
That's it.
You know what I mean? So
you're right.
We're gonna see how he's going to react. Him and his agent and his stepdad. When the Pelicans propose this contract, or if they proposed it already. I don't know.
Right.
I haven't been hearing anything from any of the Pelican insiders about what's going on with the contract situation, but I would hope that he is signed before the summer's out, or at least going into this draft.
Of course.
Because that changes things on who they're going to draft.
Oh, yeah, and it makes people more secure. Who do you think big free agents to look for this NBA offseason? Who are you looking to see gets moved, whatnot? What do you think the Lakers, too, about Russ? They're saying they don't want to put no asset on that pick, and that looks to me like Russ is going to be in L.A. again.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to move that contract.
What, $37 million?
It's hard to move that contract, man. It's just like, with John Wall, this past season. Yep. John Wall sat at home and ate $40 million playing 2K all day.
Yep, on my favorite team.
On my favorite team. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so it's like, because nobody wanted that contract. So I don't know how that's about to play out with him going forward. And then, you got somebody like Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving went over $250 million. But your availability is in question. You know what I mean? And you haven't shown that you are a winner outside of when you played with LeBron James.
Yeah.
So
immature. And
I think he could be on. I think he could possibly be on the move. James Harden.
Yep.
I mean, if I'm the 76ers, you almost kind of gotta bring him back because you gave up Ben Simmons and some picks to get him. But man,
he can't get paid no crazy money though.
Man, he won over $200-something million.
He needs to realize that his role in the game is over. He was a star in Houston because the fact of the matter is Houston had nobody. He led us to the playoffs 8-9 years in a row. Great dude, great player.
But the thing about Harden, people say he washed up. I don't think it's a matter of he's washed up. I think he just doesn't take care of his body.
I think he's burnt out. Right. Towards the end of the year.
So, I know some guys in the league that talk to me about James Harden. They say, man, this dude eat whatever he want. He doesn't really focus in on really the nutrition part and watching what he puts in his body in the off season.
Right.
Nah. When it comes to like working on stuff, he gonna work out. He gonna hoop. He gonna get it in. But he just don't take care of his body. So when he was in Houston, he was younger. Mm-hmm. So your metabolism is different when you're younger. Things are just different. He's getting older. And now his metabolism's catching up with him. And you can't get away with just eating what you want, eating burgers, eating fries, eating the ranch on the wings.
Champagne, Rick Ross.
Yeah, you can't get away with that the older you get, and it's catching up with him. But right. I think if somebody sits him down, I don't know who that might be, and says, look, take care of your body. We're going to put you on a strict diet. Let's get you coming in the training camp in shape, tip-top shape, and let's get you back to the elite level. I think if he does that, you can see the James Harden. Nah, I don't think you'll see the MVP James Harden.
Right.
But you can get some kind of resemblance of what we've seen in Houston from James Harden.
I think my problem with James Harden is I don't think he's focused. I don't think he's as focused as he should be. He reminds me of Shaq in the terms of like you said, doesn't take care of his body, doesn't realize that there's a problem, doesn't want to take initiative on it. And my thing with him is just he reminds me of Luka Doncic as well in this. Like you said, big guy. A lot of his moves are physical. He'll push, lean on you, put weight on you. That's exhausting. Towards the end of the year, that's why the playoff games are burnt out. He'll go a 7-game series. He'll ball out in the beginning. You kind of see the trend. It declines as the playoffs go. Not because of the fact that, like he can't shoot or whatever the case may be. He's just exhausted. He's out of weight or overweight, out of shape, unconditioned. Yep. I think Luka Doncic, like I was saying, reminds me of that, and Luka's going to have to curb that early. 4 years in the league already. He's still got a bright future ahead. He can still play another 10, 12 years easily at a high level. Mm-hmm. I think the fact that we see similarities of those two players is worrisome for Dallas. Dallas also needs to answer who they're going to put around him because they're in a situation where nobody's around him performing. Luka's also going to get exhausted because now he's performing for the whole team, so to speak. Who do you think they should target?
Let me tell you what I would do if I'm Mark Cuban. If I'm Mark Cuban, I'm flying out to wherever Kevin Durant's at, and I'm having dinner with him. And I'm saying, look, KD, listen. I know you and Kyrie best friends. Y'all wanted to make this thing work in Brooklyn. Look, let's be real. It's a shit show. That's what it is. Come to Dallas. Team up with Luka Doncic. I got shooters around y'all. Okay? We got to the conference finals with just Luka as our main player. Imagine what we would do if we team you two guys together. We probably playing in the finals right now.
Yeah.
So, and if I'm Kevin Durant, man, I'm seriously thinking about that. And it could possibly happen if Kyrie moves on. Because Sean Marks came on and said, like, if you watch that press conference with Sean Marks talking about Kyrie Irving, me reading between the lines, it almost sounds like he don't want Kyrie Irving back.
Right.
That's what I got from the whole press conference. I mean, he came on and said, we want a guard. No, he said that we want our star players playing team basketball. I feel like that was a shot at Kyrie Irving. You know what I mean? And you can tell he doesn't want to give Kyrie the $250 million because, just like what the shooting that happened in what is it, in Texas, huh? Mm-hmm. Yeah, in Texas at the elementary school, man. Laura, those kids' souls, man. My condolences to the family out there. But Kyrie might say, hey, I'm not playing for 2 weeks. Something else happened in the world. Man, I'm not playing. He just have these moments where he just picks and chooses when he wants to go to work. So, with that being said, I can't give you $250 million.
Right.
Not me. Not if I'm trying to win a championship. You know what I'm saying? So, for that, I think he could possibly be on the move, bro. And then that can open the door for Kevin Durant to say, man, I need to get out of here. And then Mark Cuban can slide on in and bring him to Dallas.
That would be huge. They got a lot of teams that might need to consider getting a new and like I say two, maybe a new just addition like a Miami. Mm-hmm. What does Portland do with Damian Lillard though? It's almost looking like that's thinning out as they tried everything. And what does Dame do in this situation?
Man, Dame trying to show so much loyalty to Portland, man. I respect it, but Kevin Garnett tried to do the same thing in Minnesota, and then he finally realized, I gotta get out of here if I really want to have a chance to win a ring. And he went to Boston and did it. I think that Dame should go to management and say, look, we tried it out. I tried to be loyal. Let's move around. Because look, nobody not about to sign to Portland.
Right.
Nobody's signing to Portland. This is not gonna happen. All right. Phil Knight, the owner of Nike, just came out yesterday trying to buy the team. You could tell there's just a lot of dysfunction going on in Portland. And I don't know anybody on that roster besides Anthony Simmons. So Dame, I know going into this offseason, he's like, man, bro, who I'm going to be playing with next year? Like, these guys is not on my level. We probably can't even get into a playing game next year. That's how bad it's going to be. So
he lost his right hand.
Yeah,
CJ.
He just got to make his mind up and say that, man, it's time to move on.
Where do you think best fit would be? I'm thinking Lakers.
Yeah, the Lakers, but I mean, they're not going to be able to get rid of Russ.
Yeah, especially with not attaching an asset to him. Maybe a couple draft picks, but they don't want to swallow that pride.
Miami. I know Miami gave Kyle Lowry the 3 years, $85 million last year, and he was a shell of himself.
Ooh, yeah.
looked out of shape.
8 point per game in the playoffs.
He looks out of shape.
60% of his playoff games are under 10%, 10 points.
I know Pat Riley is like, why did I give him all that money? You know what I mean? And I know he was coming off the championship with Toronto and how he led that team, and he's a winner. But if they can somehow move Kyle Lowry, I think Miami could be a good fit for Dame Lillard.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right.
Team him up with Jimmy Butler and Bam. Whew. You know what I mean? Tyler Hero coming up, man. They could be pretty good. They could be right back in the mix next year. You know what I'm saying? So,
and who would say no to Miami?
It's a first class organization. Spoelstra is one of the better coaches in the league.
Pat Riley's awesome. That
could be a good fit. It's just, could they get off that Kyle Lowry contract?
Yeah, that man. It just seems like maybe if they front load it with some picks, take a shot and go ahead and just pretty much say. But do they even have any left? Do they even have any leverage in the situation?
I don't know their assets off the top of my head, but I think that could be a good destination for him, man. I'm interested to see what's going to happen with the Clippers.
Yeah, Clippers is looking rough.
That's Kawhi and Paul George. I think they could have came back. I really do. But they said to themselves, look, this ain't the year. All right. We it's gonna take us too long to get back in a rhythm, get our chemistry going. Let's just sit this year out, come back next year and dominate. But they gonna have to add a couple more pieces as well.
Oh, of course.
You already got a good coach in Tyronn Lue. And they not that far away, man. They're not that far away. If they can add a couple more pieces to their team, the Clippers could be one of the probably a top 3, top 4 team in the West next year. And the West, could be loaded. I think somebody they should probably go after is DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah. 30-20 machine.
DeAndre Ayton's probably not about to sign back with the Suns. It's like it's a lot of dysfunction. Like him and Monty Williams not seeing eye to eye.
Right.
So, he would be somebody. If I'm the Clippers, I'll be trying to bring him on.
Yep.
Add in with Kawhi and Paul George. And now you got a nice little 3-headed monster.
And they're playing the same division. He could play Phoenix often. Four games a year minimum. That'd be nuts.
He would love that.
Oh, what? That adds some animosity.
Dude played 16 minutes in a game 7 of the conference. The second round? Second round. He played 16 minutes in game 7.
And when they let him, be the primary, or even when guys like Devin Booker and Chris Paul weren't doing well, he was there to answer. It seems like, he doesn't miss a step often. He does kind of get overlooked. What about Devin Booker? You think Devin Booker could finish it out in Phoenix? You think he's trying to stay there, or what about him? He's another one that I feel like eventually after this contract could maybe move.
Man, no, because James Jones, the GM who won Executive of the Year, I think last year, is doing it. He did a great job putting that team together. Like James Jones just understands fit. He understands personalities. I like the way he orchestrated that team.
Right.
So I could see Booker sticking around. Chris Paul probably got maybe like a year or 2 left in him.
All right. Yeah.
If they lose DeAndre Ayton, though, where do they go? Where do they turn?
Yeah, they'd have no defensive anchor. They'd be lacking one of the most powerful positions in the NBA.
Yeah, that changes things if DeAndre Ayton is not back in Phoenix. They go from being a top 3 team in the West to maybe like a top 6 team in the West, in my opinion. Unless they get somebody that's equivalent or better than Ayton to replace him.
Do you think the Pelicans' answer to cracking into that top 6 would be Zion coming back, or are they going to add a piece as well? What do you think the Pelicans need to do? Would the draft be able to be sufficient enough to supplement them?
Me and my friends, me and a bunch of my friends, like 10 of us in a group chat, and we've been arguing about this for like the last week about what the Pelicans need to do going into this draft. Me personally, I'm trying to trade Jackson Hayes. Not that I don't think he's a good player. Not that I don't think he can help the Pelicans. It's just the fact that he's about to be in a contract. He's about to be up for a contract. People about to throw some money at Jackson Hayes. Whether people understand it or not, he's going to get probably $70 million thrown at him, $80 million thrown at him. We're already playing Valanciunas $14 a year. I forgot what BI and CJ's getting paid.
Hell of a lot.
Then Zion's up for this contract. He signed that contract. You can't pay all these guys.
Exactly.
Right? So what I would do, I would trade Jackson Hayes for a pick. Maybe next year's first round pick. This year's draft, with their 8th pick, I would pick Jalen Durant from Memphis.
Okay.
He would replace Jackson Hayes. Now you could play him that rookie contract for the next 3 years. You know what I mean? And he's kind of similar to Jackson Hayes. Can switch on pick and roll, super athletic, Has a lot of upside. I think he's like 6'10", 6'11". And he's more of an offensive weapon than Jackson Hayes. I think that's what the Pelicans should do. If they don't trade Jackson Hayes and try to hold on to him, I would probably draft AJ Griffin from Duke. Knockdown shooter, hell of a defender. He would come in and be a nice fit for what the Pelicans doing going forward.
AJ is clutch. I personally think the Pelicans should identify the shooting woes. But that Jackson Hayes, that would be interesting because, like you said, I mean, look, when these situations, especially in a small market like New Orleans, when guys get that money thrown at them, they leave. There's bigger, better, nicer cities, people think. This is like the same problem with the Green Bay Packers. Nobody wants to go play in Wisconsin. You're going to be in 20-degree weather all the time, nothing to do. There's no beaches. There's no, I mean, you know what I mean? There's nowhere to spend your money as an athlete. That's what they're looking for.
If Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers is not the quarterback in Green Bay, they're probably at the bottom of the NFL.
Of course.
You know what I mean? So, people only go there because they know they got a chance to win a ring.
And I feel like it's hard to still even do that. Guys like Odell will still pick LA. Guys like even Devontae Adams wanted out, go to Las Vegas. I think our thing is just we just draft and develop. That second round's blessed us. We got Randall Cobb, Jordy Nelson, Devontae Adams. Now we got Watson. That'll be cool. We got Sammy Watkins coming in. I think Alan Lazard will
emerge.
Big role. Alan Lazard, I think. Because, I mean, look.
Who's the guy y'all drafted in the second round?
Christian Watson.
That's the receiver, right?
From San Diego State.
No. That's not
South Dakota State.
South Dakota State.
That's what it is. It was SDSU.
Yeah.
But he kind of reminds me a little bit of I'm gonna say Alan Lazard. I think he got some. He's just real physical. He goes up and goes get it.
He's pretty fast too.
I think Lazard. Look, what Devontae gets sometimes 18 targets a game. Let's give Allen a little extra 5. Allen was our solid number 2. And sometimes like when we didn't have our guys, Aaron would defer the attention to Allen, and Allen would run most of our kind of, I guess, medium, you'd say, routes, because Devontae would be the shifty inside or whatever, go deep on a go. It's definitely going to suck. I'm not trying to downplay the fact we lost the biggest wide receiver. I'm just trying to be optimistic because I think the fact that Alan Lazard is ready to fly, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to prime him.
I like Runyon at tight end too.
Yeah, he's coming off that ACL though. That's rough.
He tore an ACL last year. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I like him though. He's pretty good. But tearing your ACL these days is different.
Yeah, it could be perfect in 4 months. Yeah, you could be out there running sprints.
But you still got Aaron Jones.
Still got AJ Dillon. We lost Billy Turner on the offensive line, which sucks because now Bakhtiari has that ACL, which he didn't play week 14 for Green Bay.
But it seems like in this draft, y'all was like focused on defense.
2 Georgia guys.
Yeah.
First round. Yeah. Come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, I understand it, but I mean, goddamn, LaFleur. I mean, you couldn't give this man like a bona fide. No disrespect to the receiver from South Dakota State, but I'm like, man, you could have gave him Traylon Burks or one of them guys, man, and it gave him a legitimate number 1 receiver going into this season.
I know.
And
you know what else hurts? I will admit, Aaron Rodgers kind of has some fault in this whole situation because that contract, they backloaded and whatnot, but the cap hit is still double what Tom Brady's cap hit is. I think the fact that Tom Brady can go swallow his pride, go to the NFC, build a team around him, take the lesser pay, no matter the reason, and then win in his first year speaks volumes. He already tied the amount of conference championships Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers had in his first year in the NFC. That's nuts. It's because Tom Brady knows what it takes to win, and I'm just not sure Aaron does, or not sure if Aaron cares.
No, I'm not gonna go that far and say he don't care. I just think that man, them guys be trying to get their money while they can.
He feels like he's owed something.
Yeah, but I mean, this is just me. I mean, how much money you need?
Exactly.
I mean, is if you tell me, okay, we're gonna pay you 15. If I say I want $20 million a year, and you tell me you're gonna pay me $15 million a year, now hindsight, $5 million is a lot of money, right?
Pay your taxes.
Right? Yeah, but bro, if I'm really trying to win, and you gonna put some good pieces around me, I'm gonna take the 15 mil. It's still 15 mil.
Yeah, because we're competitive. We want to build that legacy. Yeah, that's why I'm a little worried about Aaron. Where that competitive fire at, bro?
Yeah. I mean, what you trying to do? I mean, you trying to make sure your kids are millionaires. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
that's what it seemed like.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say I blame him. I just know I'm built a little different.
Of course, this is my hypothesis for what's going on. So let's take it back a little bit. Aaron Rodgers draft saga. Aaron Rodgers fell late in the draft. He was, projected to go pretty high, first round. 49ers scout him. Mike McCarthy was the 49ers quarterback scout at the time. They eventually picked Alex Smith over him. Mike McCarthy went out and said he just thought Alex Smith was better. Fast forward, Packers hire a new head coach. You never guess who it is, Mike McCarthy. Now Aaron Rodgers has pretty much the guy who said, you're not good enough, coaching him. They're at odds. There were several clips throughout, the Super Bowl run, even the years after, where they're just arguing at each other's necks all the time. Aaron kind of lost sight of the fact that, yeah, he's a quarterback, but he's not an owner. Packers, look, I don't know how much of a problem this would be. The Packers are a publicly owned company. They don't really have an owner, so to speak. They have an acting owner. They have someone that acts like one, but at the same time, they don't have a Robert Kraft in New England that mediates Bill Belichick and Tom Brady and sits them down and be like, no, work this out. And then they go win a Super Bowl. But Aaron kind of lost sight of it, and I'm thinking maybe he's just trying to, not to get revenge, so to speak, but he's like, man, I sat here, I stuck my whole career out in Wisconsin, did nothing, ate it. Y'all didn't build anything around me. Y'all owe me this. Pay me. Maybe might be what's on his mind. You never know. Just a little hypothesis.
The thing about it, though, man, he could have went somewhere else and got that money.
He could have. He could have went to New Orleans and got that money. New Orleans would have paid him probably, dude, if possible, 3 times that. Man. They would have dug something up.
If we would have signed Aaron Rodgers,
I would have cried.
Oh, man.
That's what I'm going to tell you.
That would have been the wildest thing in Saints history.
What? Oh, my God. I don't even want to think about that. I was worried it might have happened at first. But, the only bright side, I still would have been an Aaron fan. I would have watched him play live, but the Packers just would have sucked. I'm worried for that. Jordan Love's not ready. They played him in Detroit. Rough.
Yeah.
Rough. Yeah. Looked like a varsity high school quarterback going out. But 100 days away from NFL Sunday. I think game I'm looking forward to the most, week 1, Raiders-Chargers. AFC Wild West, they completely revamped that division. That division went from a snooze fest to all of a sudden, oh my God, this is the best division in football. You're going to have Derek Carr with his new Devontae Adams weapon, and the Chargers go crazy on the defensive side. At J.C. Jackson from New England, at Khalil Mack on the line. I think the Chargers are ready. They were a little hair away. This was kind of a rematch of that playoff entrance game. Mm-hmm. I think Chargers are going to go out here and walk the Raiders. I'm not going to lie. I think they got something to prove out here. They're getting a little frustrated. That game shouldn't have ended the way it did. San Diego always, Los Angeles now, they always mess something up. They it looked like they were going to draw, and they both were going to go to the playoffs in the end, that stipulation. Right. If it would have ended in a draw in overtime, it would have won. They called a timeout, and Raiders are like, oh, really? Boom. Boot one through. So I think I keep doing that. Los Angeles got something to prove. They're going to come out here ready, firing. What are you looking forward to most? We got a lot of good games week 1.
Man, I'm always looking forward to the Saints week 1. Yeah. I forgot who.
Falcons.
Falcons. It's gonna be important, even though we should beat them. I'm looking forward to seeing Jameis Winston get his confidence against a team like the Falcons. We should go out there and win that game pretty convincing. And that could jumpstart us, throughout the season. Me looking at the schedule, I think we can possibly start off 4-0. But man, from I think it's week 6 to like week 11, bro, we got a gauntlet schedule. Like we play some tough teams, man. And so it's gonna be important for Jameis to get that confidence in week 1 to get him catapulted, going, getting into that to his stride, going into them tough games, man, in the middle of the season, in the middle of that schedule like that.
And what a blessing will be is, you'll have a kind of a little gift with Kamara coming back from a suspension, so it might help out a little bit.
Man, I wish they just come out and say what it is. Man.
I know, beating around the bush. Man. Roger Goodell loves to do that. It's not dramatic.
Yeah, typically, if you go off his years past and what he's done, it's either gonna be 4 or 6 games. I'm hoping it's just 4. You know what I mean? But we gonna see, man. But we prepared for him to sit out those 4 games. Adding people like Jarvis Landry and Chris Olave and bringing Michael Thomas back into the fold.
Huge.
I think we can kind of get by, those first 4 weeks without Kamara.
Yeah, I agree.
We should be able to.
If they string it out to 6, though, then that's when it starts getting rough. Another 2 weeks, another 2 games, and then that's saying they're going to beat Tampa Bay at home, which is probable. Yeah, but that's a big game.
Yeah, the only good thing that's going to come out of this, and I was telling a lot of my friends this, was Kamara's going to be super fresh.
Yeah, exactly. And it might be a blessing. He might not get hurt.
Could be a blessing in disguise. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm trying. I'm always trying to look at this in an optimistic. Be optimistic about the situation. Like, okay, he getting suspended. Maybe there's a blessing in disguise, bro. He gonna be super fresh throughout the rest of the season.
That's it. That's the only way to look at it. If not, you're just gonna beat yourself up about it. Be worried. Worry before you got something to worry about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look, the Saints. They did. I think they did well with Chris Olave. I'm really excited the fact that they got some Ohio State alumni in the back now with Michael and him. That is good. Like you said, Michael's a diva, doesn't like a lot of people. This might help him. They might have rubbed elbows here and there. You never know, whether it be he was getting recruited or whatnot.
He said Michael Thomas is his guy, though.
Awesome.
Yeah, he said that.
I think in the world where the Saints need to perfect that culture, this is a big boost.
Yeah.
That wide receiver room gets a little closer.
Yep.
Running backs are close. I mean, dude, Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara probably have sleepovers and slumber parties. Like, dude, they're best friends. Jameis Winston can get along with everybody and anybody.
He's a little different, but yeah.
That DB room though, they just got to get a little more coordinated. If they could have some more help on the back end, Tyrann Matthew, smart guy, level-headed, real calm, collected.
Could help. I'm not even being biased when I say this. I think this Saints defense has a chance to be the best that the Superdome has ever seen. And this goes back to the Ricky Jackson and Pat Swilling and Sam Mills days when we was like dominating people. I really think on paper, the personnel that we have put together, the pieces, we got a chance to be the best that we've ever seen in the Superdome. I mean, when you talk about the back end, the only question mark that I have, I know we moved PJ Williams from corner to safety last year, which he did pretty good. He is the only one that could play that one deep high. You know, Tyrann Mathieu is not somebody you really gonna put one deep high. Trying to play over the top. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is not really that type of safety. Marcus May, the safety we got from the Jets, he's not that kind of safety. So that's the only question mark I really have.
Would you say that for Tyrann because of the size? Is that your main worry for that?
No, it's not really that. I just think that that's just not his game. He's more of a patroller. He's more of a roamer. He's more like of a robber. Like you rob him down to the middle of the field, let him go like check tight ends, check running backs out the backfield, let him kind of like freelance in the middle of the field and kind of read the quarterback.
Because he does do a lot of rushing.
And blitzing, so I think that's more of his game. Right. Not saying if we need him to do it for a couple of downs here and there throughout a period of a game, he can't do it. I'm not saying that, but that's not his strong suit, in my opinion.
Yeah, you want to make him most efficient. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. And then at the cornerback position, with Marshawn Lattimore, Paulson Adebo, who going into his second year, who showed he had some bad moments last year, but he had some good flashes where he made some plays where he showed me he has the ability to be a good number 2 corner in the league. Alontae Taylor, the kid we drafted from Tennessee, long, rangy, super fast. I think he's going to be the helper. We brought Bradley Roby back, good nickel corner. So I think, with those pieces in the secondary, I'm real confident that we're going to be really good on the back end. And then at the linebacker with Pete Warner going into his second year, who had a really, really good rookie year, DeMario Davis, Zach Bowen on the defensive line, Davenport, if he can stay healthy, Peyton Turner, who we drafted in the first round last year, hopefully he can stay healthy because I think he only appeared in like maybe 3 or 4 games last year. Anya Mata, he's big time in the middle with Tuttle and Malcolm Roach and Granderson. Then you know what Cam Jordan gonna give you. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then, Dennis Allen just does a great job, getting that group to play together and play with this passion. You know what I mean? And people sleep on Chris Richard. I think they promoted him to associate head coach. He was the D coordinator for the Seahawks for a while, and then he went to the Cowboys, turned that defense around. Yeah. I think he plays a big role and a big part into why the Saints defense is good. Not trying to take them from Dennis Allen, but I think Chris Richard should get his flowers, man. Oh yeah, them position coaches do. They have a big impact because they still carry, the energy like a Coach Butler for Terrebonne or whatnot. I mean, he was on the sideline ramping everybody up. You got a lot of good positional coaches that are pretty. Even guys like Bill Belichick was a position coach at one time. Yep. I mean, a lot of guys are in their stripes through coaching like that. Honestly, most of them, even the Cortez Hankton at LSU, taking. I mean, the Rams are scouting him out, wanting to hire him or whatnot. Want to hire him as an OC. Exactly. After they win the Super Bowl, like maybe 2 weeks after, didn't even get the trophy back in LA yet, and they were already trying to give him a couple. What do you think is going to be your week 1 favorite going forward? Oh man, I was looking forward to the Saints Falcons for sure, but I think overall I'm thinking the Chiefs and Arizona for sure. They got two high-powered quarterbacks. They both have new pieces in the wide receiver corps.
So I think that's definitely going to be interesting. It's going to be high scoring. I think they're going to have a lot of passing yards each. It's going to be a good game for sure.
How do you feel about Patrick Mahomes? You know, he lost Tyreek Hill, and they add Juju Smith. You know, Juju Smith, no knock on him, but he's just no Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill, I feel like, is a little more efficient. What do you think Patrick Mahomes is going to have to do to kind of alleviate what he lost in Tyreek?
Well, I think they're going to have to change up some of the routes. They're going to have to, focus more on cuts, I guess, using Juju's body more. They're not going to have that speed that Tyreek had, obviously. You know, that felt like such a huge part of what they did. It's going to be different, but like I said, I feel like if they just change up some of the routes and Patrick, just changes up how he throws things.
I believe my main thing I would think for Kansas City in this situation, you got a heavy backfield. Both LSU boys, Dale Williams and Clyde Edwards, they're looking healthy and ready. Patrick Mahomes still has number one Travis Kelce, best tight end in the league. I would kind of try to, get him in space, get him in a lot of one-on-ones. That's not your primary. I mean, honestly, you can argue for 50 to 60% of most of the plays, he's the primary. I'm excited to see, though, Juju. Juju is in a... Was it the culture in the Steelers that was distracting him, or is it him? Is he the problem? Can we get Juju back?
Sometimes, man, people need to change the scenery.
Yep.
Sometimes you wear out your welcome. He seems like sort of a diva. And Mike Tomlin is no fan of divas. You saw that with Antonio Brown,
right,
and Le'Veon Bell.
Mm-hmm.
So he wants you to act accordingly and present yourself a certain way, and that's just some players just not going to do that. You know what I mean? And so I think going to Kansas City, where Andy Reid's more of a player coach and a little more loose, he can possibly go there and fly and really thrive in Kansas City. But I'm gonna tell you, them drafting Sky Moore, the receiver from Western Michigan. Not saying he's Tyreek Hill,
right?
But he has those same traits where he can stretch the defense, catch a slant and make a move on somebody and take it 80. So I think he's going to have a good opportunity to make his impact on the offense. And don't forget about Nicole Hardman.
Right.
And Robinson. Nicole Hardman and Robinson. Those two guys played big roles with the Chiefs over the last 2 or 3 years. So I think the Chiefs are going to be fine, man. Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy calling the plays, and you got Patrick Mahomes. People saying, okay, was Patrick Mahomes good because of Tyreek Hill?
Right. Of course not. I think he showed with the fact that he can move around the pocket, throw the ball sideways, parallel to the field, and fling it 40.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes still going to be a top 3, top 4 quarterback in the league. You know what I mean?
It's actually the opposite. It's Tyreek Hill was arguably good because Patrick can sling that ball 60 and hit him in stride. Will Tua hit him in stride? I'd hold my breath. Man, look, and probably pass out and die.
And look, and everybody's jumping up and down about him and Jalen Waddle and being together in Miami. Yeah, but bro, Tua got to prove itself still.
Yeah.
I mean, right now to me, he's a solid quarterback at best. At best,
he's another Baker Mayfield.
Tyreek Hill gonna see that ball coming out of Tua's hand versus Patrick Mahomes' hands is going to be a little different.
Yeah.
So, when you can run a post and know that ball going to be there on the money, when you playing with Patrick Mahomes, I think it's going to be a little different. I can see the Dolphins offense kind of struggling.
Yeah.
Starting off the season. I really could, especially, and with a new coach, putting in a new system. Tua he got to learn a new system.
Coming off an injury.
Yeah, I just don't think it's just signed, sealed, and delivered that they're going to have one of the best offenses in the league. Yeah, on paper it looked good, but I don't know.
And for the Chiefs, like we were saying, the AFC, that West, that's a tough division now. Now the Chiefs got a lot, and then the Bills soup up. They get Von Miller on that defense, and then Josh Allen looks ready. Man, Tom Brady's heckling Josh Allen at the what was it? Not the Masters. What's that called? The match. Yeah, the match. And Tom Brady pulled out the golf ball with the Super Bowl on it. Josh, you ever seen one of these? That's rough. Tom Brady's always heckling people, man. He's gonna be in a lot of movies on TV for sure. Man, isn't that crazy? He signs that big contract, and then all of a sudden Drew Brees, boom, drops out.
Yeah.
He was teasing, returning, and all. That was nuts. He had you for a little bit, huh? You were thinking,
sure did,
you were thinking
man.
Drew Brees was
I
coming
jumped
back?
on that hype train.
You would want to see Drew Brees come back?
At this point, I don't really know. I feel like we moved past that, and it would almost be harmful to turn around and say, all right, Drew, come back for 1 or 2 more years, see what you could do.
Yeah, that'd be weird.
No, I think they should move on, in all honesty.
He should stick at walk-ons or Jimmy John's or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
The only way I would want to see Drew Brees come back is if some reports come out saying that Jameis Winston won't be ready for the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season. If they come out and say something like that, come on, Drew. Come give us 3 or 4 weeks.
That would be so crazy.
Come see us for 3 or 4 weeks. Come help us out. But if Jameis Winston gonna be ready week 1, Drew, stay on your couch. Stay, doing daddy duties with your 6 or 7 kids that you have. And
your 42 restaurants.
Yeah, and overseeing your restaurants and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Look, you gave us what? How long he was in New Orleans?
Sure, what, 20? 18
something
maybe?
like that. Yeah, I mean, you gave us over a decade of great football, great quarterback play. You brought us a Super Bowl. You did great in the community. Your time is up.
Yeah,
time is up.
over,
Time to move on.
Sean Payton's going too. I think that there wouldn't be anybody really looking for that. I don't know. I mean, look, if they do it, it'd be huge. It'd be a big publicity thing. The Saints would never see any ratings like no other.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be nuts.
Yeah.
But he would really have to go crazy.
Yeah.
Or it would look horrible.
Yeah.
So bad. They're like a Ryan Fitzpatrick. He finally retired. He's done giving those part-time stints.
Mm-hmm.
Lord knows what he's going to do. I don't know. The NFL, look, it's looking good next year. I'm having a hard time seeing the Rams not taking it again. I think the Rams, if they can figure out this Aaron Donald situation, which is tricky in and of itself, they can figure out what to pay him, how to pay him, when to pay him. They got their guys. Matthew Stafford, first year with the team, goes out there, blows everyone out of the water. He's going to learn a little more. Cooper Kupp's getting a little more established. We're going to bring Robert Woods back in the mix. Van Jefferson gets a little more experience. I think that defense is crazy. The only thing I would worry about is the fact that guys like the Bills, the Bengals, the Patriots, they're all watching. Mm-hmm. That Super Bowl wasn't cut and dry. They still had a chance to win in the end. If Joe Burrow had a little bit of better offensive line, maybe Jamar Chase catches that go route and goes.
And they addressed the offensive line in this offseason.
And they sure did. I was thinking Jamar Chase, I would be comfortable using a first, second, third, fourth fantasy pick to draft him first, Jamar Chase, that because Joe Burrow being the most sacked quarterback, and they still can get some numbers done, accomplished like that. That chemistry's insurmountable. I mean, you've seen it. Mm-hmm. The chemistry's crazy. These dudes bonded hard. I mean, Jamar Chase, he's seen a couple of the clips of the show. We were talking about how I think I really do foresee him blowing people out of the water and breaking some records and putting on some crazy record numbers next year. You had some good interactions with Jamar Chase throughout his upbringing. What do you think about Jamar Chase as an athlete? Just what you see in him early on that kind of just lit up?
Man, powerful. So powerful, man. You can try to run press, man. He'll just run straight through you. Jamar Chase is not really, if you watch him, he's not going to give you a whole bunch of sauce at the line like a Justin Jefferson. You know what I mean? He's more speed release, run through you. All right? And I saw that early on with him. At one time, man, I was feeling like, man, maybe he's too damn big to play receiver because he was so swole and had so much mass on his body, like 11th grade year. You know what I mean? But what he did a good job of taking care of his body, still being able to be agile and be able to sink his hips and have that straight line 4.3, 4.4 speed, and being able to high point the ball and still show that athleticism even though he was so big. So, I knew he was going to be a special athlete. Now, did I think he was going to be the kind of receiver he was at LSU? I'm not going to sit there and tell you that. But I knew he was going to go to college and be a pretty good player.
When you seen him kind of, taking fire at LSU, what were some of the things you noticed about it that just clicked? Was it the fact that, like you said, he took care of his body and he just was able to progress? Or was it just different things in the offense? Like, what highlights Jamar best? And what are they doing in Cincinnati that made it so easily replicable?
I mean, first of all, you gave him his quarterback from college.
Yep.
They know each other like the back of their hand. The chemistry that plays a big part into a receiver's progression coming into the league. I talked to Terrence Marshall a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about his rookie year, and he was saying how just getting on the same page with a quarterback, that's a whole nother thing. It's one thing learning the offense and understanding where you're supposed to line up at and learning the terminology, but getting on the same page as your quarterback and they understanding where you like the ball and you understanding what their anticipation, where they want to throw the ball, and just a lot of nuances that go into it. He said that's just a whole nother thing.
Right.
And Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow didn't have to worry about that. Man, a lot of the times you can tell if you really watch the Bengals play, and even when it was at LSU, man, some of that stuff they was freelancing. Because they know each other so well, they just was out there like it's almost like they playing backyard football, and I think that helped Jamar Chase a lot in his rookie year. So But Jamar, man, he's a workaholic, man. He's not the type of kid that you're gonna see all in the clubs, doing a whole bunch of things he don't have no business doing. Don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure he has fun,
right.
But his priorities are in line,
of course.
That's why you've seen him thrive the way he did. That last year at LSU in his rookie year in Cincinnati.
I agree. Yeah, Jamar Chase definitely does seem focused, and that does play a huge role in it. These Bengals are they're looking primed and ready to take off and just really go on a big run. I'm looking forward to Jamar Chase and just everything that he's got going forward. What do you think the Bengals are going to do next year?
Yeah, I definitely think they're going to be a better team in the league. They're going to go into the playoffs, I feel, deep. But, whether or not they'll make it all the way to the Super Bowl again, that's tough. That's a long road, There's a lot of pieces that they have to make come together along the way. I feel like, like you said, that connection just keeps on getting better and they play well. They can definitely get out there.
Yeah, the thing I enjoy about Jamar Chase is the fact that that culture is so inset in him. And, it could be his Louisiana upbringing or the fact that he's at LSU around good coaches, good system, good people. He returns home, and whether it be, talking with Jack Besh, training with Jack Besh, or even meeting some of the guys with Malik Neighbors, Chris Hilton, they all took a picture the game before the spring game or the day before the spring game. It looks like Jamar Chase remembers his roots. He comes back and shows love. That's going to help LSU continue to be wide receiver U. And the fact that maybe he could do that on a professional level where he can give his guys his flowers, give his quarterback his O-line, just be a good person to be around and be non-diva in a diva's position. I think he shows good flashes. He's the pretty much full embodiment of what you'd want. He's like a Steph Curry for the Warriors. He's a good person, like we were saying. LSU football, speaking of, it's looking good. It's looking like we definitely have a good chance to win 9-10 games next year. I'm comfortable thinking. Definitely could crack into the top 5 in the country. Brian Kelly's got something brewing. We were down there at the spring game. What do you see there? And you had, you got some time to reflect on it now. What do you think about LSU?
Yeah, my question marks are at 2 positions, O-line and linebacker. I think those 2 positions you have to be a little concerned if you're Brian Kelly. I know that they still have I think they have like 2 scholarships left that they can go out there and get, maybe another O-lineman or another linebacker. But, in the spring, I thought Will Campbell, the true freshman, inserted himself really, really well, adjusted to, the college football life and understanding, what's expected of him, from O-line coach Brad Davis. So it looks like he's going to be the starting left tackle coming into the season. I think at the guard position, man, both of the guard positions is a little bit of a question mark. So if they can get that shored up, the offense is going to be really, really good. When you talk about John Emery and Noah Cain.
Looking good, too. Man, John Emery's going to be healthy.
Yeah, Noah Cain and John Emery, that's going to be one of the best 1-2 punches in the SEC. And then when you talk about the receiver room, that receiver room might be arguably the best receiver room from a talent standpoint in the country. You know what I mean? I was just hoping nobody transferred out after the spring. That's what I was worried about most. I'm like, man, they're so talented in that room. 1 or 2 of those guys might try to transfer out, but they, Cortez and Coach Brian Kelly and Coach Joe Sloan and Coach Denbrock, the OC, they was able to keep those guys bought into what they were trying to do, and I just think they're so deep, man, at that receiver position. And then in the secondary, I think it's gonna be led by Jay Ward.
Of course,
Jay Ward is gonna be the guy in that secondary. I'm interested to see what a kid from Ohio State, Severn Banks.
What a name, huh?
Yeah. I'm curious to see how I know he's rehabbing his I think it's his hip, which for a corner, man, that's a lot of concern. But if you see him, man, he looks like an NFL corner. He's about 6'1", long, got a nice frame on him. I know he played a lot as a freshman at Ohio State, so he has the ability. It's just going to come down to will he be healthy, by the start of the season. So, and at the quarterback position, man, it's going to come down to Nussmeier and Jaden Daniels.
I agree.
I personally think Nussmeier should be the quarterback for the week 1 of the season. I like Nussmeier. The receiving core is really kind of flocking to him.
Yep.
I know they're going to kind of piss Jaden Daniels off, though. Grad transferring over here, thinking you're going to have the starting spot, and then you don't get it.
Yep.
Hopefully that doesn't become a problem in that quarterback room.
I agree.
But I would love to see Nussmeier, man, be the starting quarterback. I think he has all the tools to bring this offense to higher heights and be one of the top offenses in the SEC.
I agree. Garrett Nussmeier has one thing about him that reminds me of a solid quarterback. He's calm, cool, collected. He's got the poise, and he can respond accordingly no matter the situation. A lot of that has to do with the fact that, like you said, the guys are comfortable with him. He's been here. The whole freshman campaign, he's got guys that he's been interacting with. I mean, one of the arguably best wide receivers in this room is Jack Besh, and that's his roommate. They're around each other 24/7, watching film together, hanging out together, eating together. I mean, these guys are two peas in a pod, three when you count Mason Smith. Mm-hmm. These guys are tight. The whole team is tight. The culture's good. Everyone's bought in. Speaking more of Jack Besh, he wasn't in the wide receiver room all year last year. He was in the tight ends room. Now he's going to be in Cortez Hankton getting footwork, getting agility, getting speed, and he's going to go crazy. Jack Besh did great last year playing wide receiver reps as a tight end. Wait till he plays wide receiver reps as a wide receiver, and he's conditioned enough, and he's in that room around those guys, getting those reps. I think the sky's the limit for Jack. He's another big guy coming out of wide receiver U. Keyshawn Boutte coming off an injury. Malik Neighbors, Chris Hilton, like you said, this room is stacked. We've never really, I guess you could say, been so comfortable in such a vulnerable situation, coming off a 500-year new coach. But at the same time, we're sitting here thinking we'll be top 5, and I could really, honestly, put money on that and sleep well at night.
Yeah, when I looked at the schedule, I think that they can start off 5-0.
Yeah,
I think they have a good chance of starting off 5-0. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens when they play A&M. I think they play them at A&M.
Yep. Last game.
Then you play Florida at Florida. With the Billy Napier era starting. They got Bama at home, so that's a plus having them at home.
We got Auburn away too.
Yeah, but Auburn, they have a lot going on over there.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's not far-fetched that the LSU Tigers can win 9 games, possibly 10 games this year. It's not, that's not far-fetched at all in my mind. Just looking at the teams in the SEC and knowing what's coming back. But at the end of the day, you still got to play the game. You know what I mean? Because sometimes, man, you think a team is not going to be that good, and then they play, and you like, man, who is this kid? Who is this receiver? Who is this running back? Who is this quarterback? Like, it'd be somebody just come out the woodwork that probably just was sitting on the bench last year that just kind of took that next step.
Yeah,
so,
right.
But as of right now, just going off of what I saw last year from these teams, I think LSU has a good chance to win 9, possibly 10 games this year.
I agree. There's a lot of things in the mix. A lot of good things looking. The most accomplished head coach LSU's hired. Last 3 head coaches they've hired all won a national championship at some point in their stay at LSU. Brian Kelly, I think, will be more the same. Not really a fan favorite in terms of the reactions you'll get on social media. Seems like people are kind of split. You either love him or hate him. But you know what? That's LSU. You either love him or hate him. LSU is charismatic, energetic, and I think Brian Kelly, as odd as it sounds, might be a perfect fit for it. I think he's got the brains to completely just evolve in this situation. He was at a private school, didn't get to recruit the guys he wanted to recruit. Now he gets to get in one of the best states for talent, in the best states for recruiting, at one of the best colleges. I think he's just really looking like he's having fun out there. It's almost like he's playing my GM mode on Madden or something. Like, this dude's building something special first year.
He's more of a CEO, if you will. That's how he conducts himself. That's how he carries himself, on the practice field, during the spring game. Me personally, when they was doing the coaching search and then they finally decided they was going to hire Brian Kelly, I thought they should have hired Billy Napier. Not saying that I think Brian Kelly can't have success at LSU and that he's a bad coach. I just thought that the era that we in now with the NIL, having somebody like Billy Napier that's from Louisiana, understands the state, recruited the South when he was at UL and when he was at Alabama, would have been a better fit for what LSU is trying to do going forward. Billy Napier is 40 years old. Brian Kelly's 61.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And so with the times that we're living in, I just thought that Billy Napier was going to be the better situation for us for LSU to go in.
Yeah.
But as it pertains to like just coaching and running a program, Brian Kelly is, bar none, he's one of the better coaches that's done it in college football.
Yeah.
But when you got to think about the grand scheme of things, the NIL is playing a big part into if you're gonna get certain kids.
Look at A&M.
You see what Saban came out and did, he ran because he knows that if you're on top of your NIL game, it's gonna even the playing field. Mm-hmm. So, players that they probably usually, used to getting every year in and year out, you might not get them because now Florida, A&M, LSU, or whatever, if you're on top of your NIL game, they can do what they can give them the same thing you're trying to give them. And I think Nick Saban just don't understand. He don't understand NIL. And to his point, it is a little chaotic because there's no guidelines. There's really not no real structure with the NIL right now. And so I think he just feels that the NCAA needs to come out with some type of guidelines, some type of handbook on what you can do, what you can't do.
It's messy. And I mean, it's expected. It's its first year. But yeah, it is very messy. It's going to get even messier now that high school in Louisiana is able to do it. That Billy Napier hire definitely would have been interesting. I do think you have a good point in the fact that, he understands the culture and whatnot. I think the problem Scott Woodward had was he just was ready for the name. He wanted a big name, big splash hire. He wanted to get everybody excited. So he got Brian Kelly because you can kind of see, he did that with Jay Johnson. Jay Johnson went to 2 College World Series in 6 years. And then Kim Mulkey's the greatest women's basketball coach ever. Literally ever.
Nah, with McMahon, for the basketball, he got it from Murray State. That wasn't too much of a splash. You know what I mean? But I think he had no choice because LSU's probably about to get a 2-year sanction.
Yeah.
From the postseason. So he probably knew he couldn't get that big name that he probably wanted.
Right.
Because of the 2-year ban.
I'm impressed that he got Matt McMahon.
Yeah,
Matt McMahon is super calculated, and like the fact that he can see things in John Morant. I'm glad we got Adam Miller back. That is a big clutch thing. I think LSU basketball is not really going to be as bad as people were thinking.
Man, but some of the recruits that he's gotten in his class, I was surprised about that. I'm like, man, McMahon getting these kids to come here. He getting these kids to come here, and they know they not even going to be able to play in the postseason. So, like, kudos to McMahon, man, for pulling some of these recruits in here, man. And
some of them from Murray State.
Yeah, some of them from Murray State. But, I mean, he got a couple 4-stars.
Yeah.
That's committed to him, man. And I think he's going to make LSU basketball exciting. And, it's just too bad, man. They probably not. I don't think the NCAA came down with the ruling. Some people think they might just get 1 year. I don't think so. I think they're gonna get 2 years. I think the NCAA is gonna try to
make an example
out what Will Wade did. Just because he was so damn sloppy.
Wife's bank account, Mr. Will. Come on, man.
Taking pictures. Well, not taking pictures. You in a restaurant with Trenton Walford and his family after the state championship when it's dead period. Like, all these people don't know that you LSU head coach. So, and these people taking pictures and putting it on social media and sending it to this person, man, you just got to be smarter than that.
And then you get blackmailed through text. Shoot, man, that was rough. Before we wrap it up and get out of here, though, I want to get your thoughts on a couple in-state recruits that we got here brewing out of Houma. Jalen Coleman got his offer from A&M. Vandy running back. What do you think about him? Let's kind of dive into just that freak athlete. What's he, a 3-sport athlete? Baseball, football, basketball?
Yeah. Jalen Coleman is special. Me and his dad actually played together in high school. Kind of grew up playing ball together. His dad was pretty good too. It's funny that he's bigger than his dad right now. His dad was always smaller than everybody when we was growing up, but he was a really, really good basketball player, really good football player, super fast and twitchy, just like Jalen. But Jalen is one of those kids that just understands the process early on. A lot of kids come in as a 9th grader, they don't understand how to take care of their body, how to train, how to watch film and understand what you're doing on Friday nights. Jalen Coleman is one of those people that understands all of that. He understands the big picture. He understands the grand scheme of things. And he's just super, super talented and super, super fast. I think he came in second in the 100.
Yeah.
For at the state track meet in Baton Rouge for a freshman. I mean, bro, that's like unheard of. I think he ran a 10.7, 10.8, 10.7 as a freshman. So can you imagine what he's going to be running by the time his senior year comes?
Right.
So he's really, really gifted, man. I can't wait to see how he progresses going forward. Some of the LSU coaches I've talked to about him, they want to get him in the camp this summer. Actually, LSU has a camp this Sunday coming. I don't know if he's going to attend, but I think his dad did tell me they're going to attend one of the camps before the summer's out. Okay. So I know LSU definitely has him on their radar. and he can end up being one of the bigger recruits to come out this area for that 2025 class.
I agree. I mean, these running backs coming out of South Louisiana, you got Booga Williams, you got John Emery, you got a lot of big, tough, rough guys. Jan Kuma could be another one of them. You got any other standout recruits you looking forward to seeing in this football season coming up?
Man, from your alumni, man, Colin Billiard. Colin. I know he doesn't have his first offer yet, but Colin Billiard is a player from this area that I think that has an opportunity to be one of the best receivers, not only in the state of Louisiana, but in the country. Mm-hmm. He has that kind of ability. Basketball background, super twitchy, long, athletic, 6'3.5". Huge. Got a 7'8" wingspan.
Yeah.
He has all the tools to be big time. He just got to put it together.
He's a great kid too. I got a funny story about Colin. He was a wide receiver. I was a DB, and we would always match up. And like you said, 6'3", absolute, just monster, way taller than me. So I was like, all right. One thing that I'm gonna have to do to get in his head is just talk trash. So me and him honestly became friends just because we just got so competitive every day in practice. We go back and forth nonstop. And one day we just kind of put it aside and just kind of started laughing about it just because we were just so full of energy together. Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to getting him on the show here soon as well. I believe, like you said, he's got a big year coming out, both sports. He could get an offer in basketball and in football.
Well, he got his first offer in basketball as a ninth grader from Nicholls State.
Yep.
Coach Austin Clunch, one of the best young coaches in the country, won the Southland Conference this past year. Is very, very fond of Colin. I think early on Colin was focusing on basketball more than football.
Right.
Now he's kind of switching to football. Not saying he's putting basketball on the back burner.
Right.
Because he's still a really good basketball player, but he's focusing more on football because I think he sees the potential and the upside and where he can go in the football world.
I agree.
So, man, the sky's the limit for that kid. I'm telling you, bro, he has the opportunity to be big time.
And another former Terrebonne wide receiver kind of had a similar path. Chavez Brown came on the show, and he said, same thing. He had two sports, basketball, football. He picked football. He thought football would be more probable to get an offer. They got more people on the team, more colleges, a little less competitive. He wound up doing it. Now he's succeeding greatly at Butler, and he's even getting looked at by North Carolina and whatnot.
Yep. Good kid,
Kylan,
too. Another good kid.
And, I mean, Kylan is almost the full embodiment of him in terms of
I think he's a little bit longer.
Culture. Yeah. Just needs to get that muscle, I think.
Mm-hmm. Now, his legs look phenomenal. It's uphill, his shoulders, and he needs to get a little more mass up top, but Colin has all the tools. Another recruit from our area down here in the Tri-Parish, Tyron Winslow. He plays D-tackle at H.L. Bourgeois. He was a freshman this past year, too, part of that 2025 class. Tyron's about 6'4", 280, 290. Hasn't gotten his first offer yet, but it's coming. It's coming. I've been having conversations with him over the last month or whatever, and telling him how important it is for him to go to these camps and get his name out there. But he is really, really talented. Still kind of raw, of course. When you're young like that, you're still trying to, learn the nuances of how to play the position. The only thing with him is I'm still trying to figure out, is he an offensive lineman or defensive lineman as it pertains to the next level. But either way, I think he's going to be a Power 5 player. When you see him, you definitely look at him and think, this kid got to be a senior. But he's only going into his 10-year year, and he moves really, really well. Got good feet work. He has a basketball background as well. I don't know if he's going to play basketball this coming season. From what he was telling me, he was kind of saying he was going to focus on football, and when football's over, he would just want to focus on working out. So we'll see. But Tyron Winslow is another player to be on the lookout for in our area that can be a Power 5 prospect.
What do you think? How do you identify that offensive lineman or defensive lineman to the next level? What would you look for?
Man, on defense, man, I'm looking for violence.
Yep.
I'm looking for that violence, man. And, that was some of the things that people were saying about Mason at first when he was at Terrebonne. His sophomore and junior year, it was like, man, I think he might be an old lineman. Not violent enough. You know what I mean? Kind of nice. But Mason's senior year and his freshman year at LSU, he showed that he can be violent. He's turned on that switch. Yeah. He's not a nice guy anymore. You know what I mean? So now people are like, okay, yeah, now he's a D lineman. He probably gonna be a first round pick. You know what I mean? So early on, I think it takes a while for some kid for that switch to come on to get that mean streak. And I think that's what it is with Tyron, because right now, even though he's really talented at D line, he's still kind of a nice guy. Still kind of just happy go lucky when he's on the field. You know, and when you at the D lineman, you got to be nasty. You know, you got to be grimy.
Yeah.
And so he hasn't gotten those traits yet of being grimy and nasty yet. And so that's why I say I don't know. Maybe he might end up being an O lineman. We'll see.
I think. Have
you ever seen him?
I seen a couple highlights of him as well as the guy from Thibodeau too, the D lineman from Thibodeau. He's
Buxton.
Yeah.
But he transferred to Warren Easton though. Right after the storm. Yeah.
That's Caden as well, right? Didn't they go together?
Both of them,
and then Donovan went
too. And Jelon Martin.
Really?
All of them had left. Yep.
Okay. Yep. So Warren Easton was active with Terrebonne in that area.
Yep.
What I'm thinking with Mason Smith, like you said, that mindset. One of my favorite things. He said this on the show maybe about a month ago. He said the trench mindset for him. He is on live TV, and you're either going to embarrass him or you're not. It's either him or you. And he said, I ain't going to let it be me. He's got full confidence, and he embodies the attitude that he's going to put you down 100% of the time. He's focused. He's not worried about anything, and he's putting it all out there. He likes to go 100%. He's got a crazy amount of size, crazy build, and he's fast on top of it. He reminds me of an Aaron Donald or like a Cameron Jordan even. I mean, he's a special breed for sure. I think this area specifically is full of great athletes, full of people with great potential, and I think you do a great job of highlighting them. Yep. You know, you give these guys a great platform, and you give them a bunch of good memories, a bunch of good highlights, and you're really there to document it all from the beginning. What you do is great, G. I like your content. G Sports on YouTube, Jeremiah Gray.
Yep.
Great dude. Thanks for coming along. Hope to see you more. Check out the show. Socials on TikTok, Instagram, at Verdant Verdict, Twitter as well. Daily clips posted. We got this man over here celebrating every time the Celtics win. He was cranking that lawnmower last night, 10:30 at night. You know, we got all kind of stuff going on. But this has been the Verdant Verdict. We got Game 2 of the NBA Finals coming up here soon. We'll be giving a recap right after that. Once again, thanks, G, for coming in.
No doubt, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate y'all.
This has been the Verdant Verdict, y'all. Thank y'all.